Hello again. This video lesson will help you complete your work for today, Thursday, January 24th. By the end of this lesson, you will be able to find the area and perimeter of a figure. Of figure. Okay, so that's supposed to say of a figure. The good news is that we are pretty much pros at finding the area by now, and perimeter is kind of a new concept to us. We have already worked on finding the side lengths of squares of shapes, so this is going to continue that concept today, and by the end of this lesson you will be able to find the perimeter of a shape as well as its area. Let's start by looking at this line segment. We will need to determine the length of this line segment by completing the square. So following the slope of this line segment, I want to make my adjacent side length perpendicular, so I want it to form a right angle. So currently my slope of this line is a rise of 1 and a run of 1. So its opposite reciprocal would be -1 to the right 1, and on this point is going to form my adjacent perpendicular line. I'm going to complete this by going down 1 from the left and over to the right. So now I have this line segment, and now I have closed it to become a square. As a reminder, the area of this square right here is 2, so the side length of this shape is the square root of 2. Now, think to yourself, can I simplify the square root of 2? Why do I leave it as 2 underneath the radical? Why can I not simplify it to a number? Yes, you got it. 2 is not a perfect square, so if I were to find the square root of 2, it would leave us with an irrational number, and I don't want to leave it as an irrational number. So I'm going to leave it as the square root of 2. Here is another example. To find the length of this segment, again, I would complete it as a square. So to complete this square, I see that the slope is a rise of 1, run of 2. So going from this point to my next point, I would go down 2 over 1 to that point, draw my line segment. From here, I would go down 2 to the right 1. So I would connect those, complete my square. And now I would work to find the area of this shape. Now some of you were asking yesterday how I would easily find the area of this shape. And what I recommend to you is to draw the triangles within this shape and to try to make those triangles right triangles. That will help us in the future. In the middle here I have 1. If I look at each of those individual triangles, I'm going to make it into a rectangle and divide that by 2. So that complete rectangle would be 2. So the area of this triangle is 1. Therefore, the other ones are 1 as well, for a total area of 5. The area of this shape is 5. So if the area of this square is 5, that must mean all of the lines are square root of 5, square root of 5, square root of 5, and square root of 5. Again, 5 is not a perfect square, so I leave it as a radical, a 5 underneath the radical, so I leave it as the square root of 5. So looking at our examples, keep in mind as you're going ahead and doing your homework that any line segment with a slope of 1, any line segment with that diagonal is going to be the value of the square root 2. Any slope with any segment with a slope of 1 and 2, so 1/2, a rise of 1, run of 2, is going to be the length of the square root of 5. And again, I got those by looking at the completed square and finding the side length. And here's my example with 2. So here's our homework. I have 7 questions, 7 different shapes where I'm asked to find the area of each shape and the perimeter of each shape. Let's start with what we know. Let's start with the area. As I'm looking at problem number 1, I'm going to break it down into 2 individual right angles. Helping me see it in right angles is going to help me better find the side lengths. This portion to the right If it were a complete rectangle, it would be 3. So this segment right here, or this chunk of this triangle, is 1.5. Over here, if I were to complete this rectangle, it would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So the triangle itself is 4.5. So altogether, the area of this shape is 6. Now here we go for the perimeter. I'm going to start with this side right here. Oh, where's my pen? Oh my. Okay, here we go. I'm going to start with this side right here because it's going to be a little bit harder for me. It's not one that I already know. It's not that square root of 2 or square root of 5. So I'm going to complete the square here to find this side length. So I know that my slope currently is from left to right, -3/1. So I'm going to go down 1 and then to the left 3, 1, 2, 3. Oops, right about here. And start my square. Go down 1/3, 1, 2, 3. And there is my square. Now I'm going to count it out to find the area. I've broken my new square into 4 triangles and 1 square in the middle. The square in the middle has a value of 4, where each of those triangles are 1.5. Again, I know that because if I were to complete them as a rectangle, as I did down here, it would be 3, so half of that is 1.5. So altogether, the area for that square is 10. So the area for the square going off of this segment right here is 10. Therefore, the side length of that triangle is square root of 10. So on this sheet now, when you see any line segment with a slope of 1/3 or -1/3, you know that it will be the length of square root of 10. So I'm just looking ahead to number 3, and I see already that those are both the square root of 10. Let's go back to our first example with the triangle. Down below, easy peasy. I have 4 straight lines representing the side length of 4. And then over to the left, remember from the previous page that I said each of these individual segments is the square root of 2. So I have 3 square root of 2 segments. So I would represent that side length as 3 square root 2. So to answer the question about perimeter, remember perimeter is adding up all of the surrounding sides. So when I go around and see the surrounding side lengths, I add them up. I have 3 square root 2. I add that to the square root of 10, and I add that to 4. That's my answer for number 1's perimeter. I leave it just like that because I cannot combine any further. There are no more like terms, unless I go into messy decimals, but I'm going to leave it as a rational number. The last example I'd like to do with you is number 7, and I'm going to let you find the area on your own because you, like I said, you're a pro at it at this point. So now let's just think about finding the perimeter of this shape. As I noted earlier in my video, any line segment that goes down 2/1 or has the slope of 1/2 or 2/1 is going to have the side length of the square root of 5. So right now I see that those are both the value of square root of 5. And remember how I found that, how I proved that it was that by completing the square off the shape and seeing that the area of that entire shape is 5. So now I'm left with this side length right here. And I could build the square off of it and find the value of that area. But I also see that it's broken into 2 square root of 5 segments. Let me change my color so you can see that. Here I have the 1 and 2. So there's my slope, 1/2 or 2/1. So that value is the square root of 5. This value is also the square root of 5. So altogether, this side length value is 2 square root 5. That means this side length value down here is also 2 square root 5. Now comes the fun part. Now comes adding these together. If I list out everything I have so far, I have, I'm going to go back to my blue pen. I just have to find it. There we go. I have square root of 5 plus 2 square roots of 5 plus square root of 5 plus 2 square roots of 5. So altogether, how many square roots of 5 do I have? This counts for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Altogether, I have 6 square roots of 5. And the reason I could add them together is because they were all a like term. They were all square roots of 5. So my perimeter for number 7 is 6 square root of 5. So good luck with your homework. You're probably sick of hearing me talk, and I'm pretty sick of hearing myself talk in the room right now because I'm sure this is going to be going on during class. So I'm going to stop, and I'm going to end with the joke of the day. My joke to you today is, what is the center of gravity? Your answer is V. V is the center of gravity. Haha, super funny. Okay, so your homework, the sheet that I have given you to find the area of and perimeter of each shape, problems 1 through 7, that is due on Monday. Later today, I will put the answer key on Moodle, and I want you to try this as best as you can on your own. Be confident in yourself. You'll know what to do once you just take the steps and draw the squares. Let me know if you have any questions. Other than that, happy last day of quarter 2. When you return to school on Monday, you will be 7.5 graders. Very cool. See you later. Bye.
Made with Doodlecast Pro.